Giving Brian Dowd a rest for today against in this midweek matchup. Whistle blows and we're going to get started here.
Be interested to see how Oberlin attacks this game coming in. You don't want to get over aggressive, obviously playing an opponent with as much quality as Notre Dame, but you also don't want to look scared. You don't want to back down early on. So I'm interested to see how they approach this open, trying to simultaneously respect the fact that Notre Dame has so many weapons, while also being sure they're going to want to take their game to Notre Dame and not just sit back and let Notre Dame do whatever they want.
And we talked to head coach of the Yeomen, Blake New, earlier in the week, and he talked about his team's focus on being a possession-dominant team and that really being their identity. And so against a team like the Irish that really likes to attack as often as they do and score goals in bunches, it's going to be a test for the Yeomen to maintain possession throughout. There's a fight near midfield, and that's going to result in a foul on the Irish. Yeomen are going to go fast for it. Commissaris tries to center it somewhere. Finds Thompson. Thompson turns it over as Red Voices sends it back. Turnover there as the Yeomen try to state their claim on this side of the turf. Taken right back by Borso. And the Irish look to get out of their zone.
Been a nice first minute for Oberlin. They don't look too timid. They look like they're playing a style they want to play, and they're not overhitting the ball. They're not trying to get too aggressive, trying to rely on just hoofing into the box. They're playing, like Coach said, a possession style. They don't look like they're trying to force themselves into this long game of long balls. Instead, they look like they just want to play their game against Notre Dame. And right now, for the first minute, it's worked pretty well.
McLaughlin trying to work the ball downfield. He'll find Borso. Borso dancing around the end line. Able to find Rue. Rue looking somewhere. Nearly hits Rossi on a crosser, but isn't able to connect there, and that will result in a goal kick. But an early attempt there for the man that we covered in the open, Matthew Rue.
Really nice feed to get it there by Wyatt Borso, too, splitting a couple defenders. And Rue, I'm not sure if he was looking to get a shot off there or trying to find Rossi, but either way, gets it kind of in that no man's land between it's not in the goal, but it's also a bit too late for Rossi to react. But nice build-up from the Irish overall, from McLaughlin going out wide to finding Borso, Borso splitting the lines with the pass, and then Rue trying to get that final ball to Rossi. That's the kind of stuff that's repeatable against any program, not just Oberlin. You can take that on the road to Virginia Tech and play that same pattern, and it'll work pretty well as well.
The Irish are working in a lot of the deeper parts of their roster in this matchup today, but Rossi and Rue are two of the regulars that are still going to be seeing time. As there, Wyatt Lewis hits the splits and causes a turnover. But Mo Williams is back to field it for the Irish, and Cornell will boot it away.
To your earlier point about how it's not just reserves, it's not just starters, I like the mix Coach Chad Riley put out today, because you're not just throwing your freshmen in, your reserves into the wild and telling them to go get after it, and you're not just putting out your first team lineup when you have a game in just 2 days. It's a nice mix where you allow kind of the veterans to guide along some of the younger players, while also allowing these younger players to get some minutes in college soccer, get some experience in that will be invaluable maybe later on in their careers. Especially someone like Owen Cornell, who next year might be the starter for this team with Brian Dowd graduating. This is a good game to kind of see what you have in your young keeper.
Brian Dowd having 52 starts in his veteran career. So it's good to see Cornell get some reps in. Here's Rue, trying to find somewhere, but turns it over. And Oberlin works it out of the zone for now. Williams is back there to calm it down. An attempt here for Borso. We'll try to keep it in. We'll try to center it there, but it's going to be blocked away, and an attempt there was actually booted back into the hands of Iorio. He was able to make the save off his own player.
Nice reaction there by Iorio. Looking like, I don't think he was expecting that to come in. Obviously, deflection, you can never really react easily to those, but he does well to hold it, control it, and not let Notre Dame get an easy rebound.
So Colvin or Iorio able to have his first action of the day. He started 9 games so far for the Yeomen on the year, and this is his 10th. They're going to work it back to Iorio. Early on, the pressure by the Irish, keeping the ball in their offensive zone. And here's going to be a chance for Rue. He's going to work his way around. He'll find Spicer. Spicer will work it to Redavoisa. It's going to end up in McLaughlin's boot. He's going to find Borso. Borso will try to work it in. Still dribbling in. And able to bounce it off the leg of the Yeoman defender, and that's going to result in a goal kick for the Irish.
Good discipline there by Borso, who doesn't commit the foul, but still makes a play on the ball. It's easy to give up once the defender gets himself between the player and the end line. Borso keeps battling, doesn't commit any needless fouls, and manages to nick the ball off the defender's leg for a corner kick.
So the Irish going to get an early set piece and a good boot there by McLaughlin, but that will wind up on the other side of the net, out of play, unable to be reached for any attack there, and the Irish are going to work it back now.
Matthew McLaughlin looks like he's going to be a key piece in the build-up for Notre Dame today. Already has hit a couple key passes. You see there facilitating play out wide, and you see on the corner kick as well, the one trusted with the short corner, try to get it into the box. Clearly a player Coach Riley trusts to hit that pass, that secondary pass, not the final one, but the one that leads to the final one. And so far he's had some nice success getting the ball to where it needs to be.
Wyatt Lewis will pass it on over to Wyatt Borso, who will try to send a centering pass that's headed up and out of play. And despite Iorio's best efforts to keep it in, that's going to result in another goal kick for the Irish, or rather yet another corner kick. And the Irish this year have really been successful on set pieces and corners. They've scored off 2 corners so far this year, with 8 of their 19 goals coming off a set piece.
Of course, Notre Dame's main set-piece threat, Patty Burton, is not in the lineup today, but we'll see if any other players can maybe rise up to the occasion. Michael Rossi's got plenty of height, for example.
McLaughlin boots it. Header attempt ends up outside of danger for the Yeomen, as they chase it down and boot it back downfield, but it's quickly turned over and returned by the Irish. This ball is recovered by Fuller for the Yeomen, but turnover just as fast, and here comes Borso yet again. That pass turned over and recovered by the Yeomen as they will force their way back upfield. Hammer tries to find Conosaurus. That ball ends up out of play due to Mitch Ferguson's diving efforts.
Mitch Ferguson, a player that's not exactly a veteran in terms of his years, but he's gotten a lot of minutes for this Notre Dame team. He's developed a lot in the last 2 years, and really going to be expected to be a leader today on that back line, as well as Mo Williams, the graduate student.
Pasewicz will boot it back outside as the Yeoman defense will try to set something up. Right, Borso picks off that pass. A good slide tackle there by Volpe. He's able to keep the ball in Yeoman possession. Scramble for the ball as neither team is able to establish consistent possession here. Borso picks it off yet again. Irish look to get it out. Ferguson plays it to Lewis. Lewison up to Redavoisa, who will find Borso. The Irish will look to slowly creep their way into their offensive zone. But a turnover here as the Yeomen look to come back. This Yeoman team coming out of the North Coast Athletic Conference in D3 competition. Oberlin being 31 miles southwest of Cleveland. So they had a short 4-hour drive over here to South Bend. And this is the first matchup between these two teams. There you take a look at head coach Blake New. Irish now looking to set something up as McLaughlin finds Borso.
What struck me about this Oberlin team is they're very well positionally drilled. You know, in defense, they don't give up a lot of lapses. They keep the men marked. You see they have a nice structure about them that they don't give up too easily. And then when they're building out as well, it feels like they do well to make sure they win the second balls. They're always in position to be in position.
Yorio fields that one, and we'll have a goal kick here. Oberlin looking to find a way to get it out of their zone. That's going to result in Irish possession, and they're going up quick with a throw-in. And there was Rue trying to give an attempt to turn it over, but Yorio able to take it away. And looking at Coach New of Oberlin College, he's in his 24th season at the helm for the Yeomen, has 6 appearances in the NCAA tournament, and has earned his Conference Coach of the Year honors in 3 different years. And head coach Chad Riley of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish actually got his start with Coach New way back in 2004. And so the start of these two teams facing off against each other originated through that long-standing relationship between Coach New and Chad Riley.
And Coach New has built a consistent program at Oberlin, one that consistently competes at the highest level. He's made the tournament several times and really just found stability for the team. You don't coach for 25 years for no reason, and it's a testament to just how well New has done year in and year out to keep on finding solid units that he's stayed on for this long and kept on putting out quality teams. And now we'll see what his maybe pull off what would be presumably one of the biggest upsets in recent memory and probably history in general if he was to get a result tonight. But tonight aside, he's done a really nice job of finding some consistency and building this program up.
Besides New, Oberlin has an experienced staff led by assistant coach David Wilson. Meanwhile, Borso unable to have that drive, centering drive, go anywhere. A turnover here as Spicer tries to find Rue in the middle. Borso yet again trying to center it. Turned over. And the Yeomen able to get it out.
Borso's been active. It's only a matter of time before he finds some more space. Feels like every time he gets on the ball, he's capable of creating some danger down on that wing, be it getting to the end line and putting it across or just beating his man, maybe cutting towards goal himself. His player Notre Dame is clearly putting a lot of faith in tonight to be a player that's finding the goal, be it via assist or taking a shot himself. He's clearly given a lot of freedom on that wing to kind of get the attack going, and Notre Dame's looking to him quite a bit when they build out.
As there's an attempt to bury one deep into Yeoman zone. As I mentioned, David Wilson, assistant coach of Oberlin, in his 15th year on the staff. He's a 2006 graduate of Oberlin and had a lot of good accolades in his time playing for them, including all NCAC accolades as a freshman, sophomore, and senior. Meanwhile, the Irish going to generate some offense. Only one shot on the day so far for the Irish.
Notre Dame's taking control of this game in terms of the possession, and they've had the lion's share of it, especially when it comes to possession in the opponent's final third. But Oberlin's done well so far to weather the storm. You see there, actually, kind of cheap giveaway Oberlin can't afford, but well recovered. But at that point, Oberlin's done well defensively to stay disciplined and not allow Notre Dame's pressure to really get to them, not giving away possession so far in any areas that could lead to danger, and now they'll try to build out themselves.
Sebastian Green playing alongside the far side, and the Irish are going to work it to McLaughlin. We'll find Williams. Oberlin applying some pressure, but Borso's going to get it back yet again. He's had a lot of touches so far today. Tries to work it to Rue inside. McLaughlin back with possession. He'll find Redavoisa. Irish have kept the ball in this zone for quite some time and haven't been able to put on a shot for a while. Borso with possession yet again. A turnover as McLaughlin now has a touch. He'll get it back.
Notre Dame staying patient. No need to force things. No need to try to push for a goal just 15 minutes in. Obviously, you'll need to score at some point, But Notre Dame knows if they take their time, they'll find the chance eventually.
Coughlin finding Borso yet again. Looking for someone to go is Borso. He'll try to center it. And an attempt at a header is missed by Green. Green will try to keep it in bounds and is just unable to do so. That'll give a toss-in attempt for the Yeomen.
We'll see here if Notre Dame tries to spring the pressure, they will.
And a good turnover there by Spicer. The boot there is blocked, and that will roll out of play, resulting in yet another goal kick for Iorio. Or rather, that was bounced off an Oberlin defender. That's going to give the Irish their third corner kick of the evening.
Notre Dame will love to keep creating chances like that. It's a well-triggered press. It's not easy to decide when you want to push the buttons and pull the levers to initiate the press. That time Notre Dame does just that, and they win the ball and win a corner as a result.
Spicer with a high boot. Will go outside. Another chance for a header here. And a quick save there by Iorio as that bounced right in front of him. So an early opportunity there for Rossi and the Irish ends up in the hands of Iorio. He'll boot this one a long way away. But a quick turnover results back in Irish possession.
I think Notre Dame were looking for a high boot there, as I believe that was Wyatt Lewis who went in with his head and nearly caught the boot of the Oberlin forward, and thankfully no collision and no call from the referee, but Notre Dame seemed none too pleased either. They wanted that free kick.
Borso with a quick touch, but unable to wrangle it. Williams comes back to calm it down. 28 minutes left in this first half, as the Irish have played quite patient and have dominated possession, but only have one shot on goal yet to show for it. Toss in here for the Yeomen. That'll be a foul and lead to a free kick here for the Yeomen. And for a team like the Yeomen that likes to dominate in possession, it has to be a little frustrating for them to start and to have the Irish pretty much dominate possession so far. And here's Borso with an attempt here. He'll find Radovoisa. Radovoisa puts a boot up, but that's an easy save there for Iorio as he's able to body that one up.
Radovoisa, one of these rotational first-team guys that I think Notre Dame is really counting on to be a key factor dictating tempo in the midfield today. He's playing with a different unit than he usually does, but he's a player with a lot of experience, and I think Notre Dame will expect him to kind of be a presence on the ball, be someone that's constantly involved, using his experience in some of these ACC games to have an outsized impact in a game like this one, where he's kind of expected, I think, to be the main man in that midfield, along with Wyatt Lewis, someone else with a lot of experience, albeit just in his freshman year.
You mentioned Lewis. He gets his touch there. Williams looks to work at Borso. The Irish have done a lot in trying to find Borso so far. Borso taking a drive, finds Rue. Rue trying to find a centering pass. Borso with a shot, but that one will pass way above the net. And Iorio will boot it away.
Some nice instincts there by Borso to cut inside and wait for that layoff, or I'm not sure if it was maybe a deflection, but regardless, I think he knew that ball, be it from Rue or from someone else, was going to find its way to his feet, and he gets an angle off too, but just not the finish he wanted. Regardless, a nice run by Borso, both on the ball and then off the ball, to get himself into the position to take that shot.
Borso in his fourth game played on the year. The sophomore forward is getting a lot of touches so far on the near side of the field. Irish continue to be calculated in their passes and in working their way down the field. And here's a chance now for Borso. He could settle it down. Tries to center it there, and a shot on goal. Great save there by Iorio. A second chance attempt ends up out of play. Iorio has a massive dive there off the boot of Matthew Rue.
Beautifully
Keeps this
worked
game
by Notre
scoreless.
Dame. From start to finish, you see Rossi there with a nice find over on the wing to get to Borso. Then it comes in the middle, and Rue just, I think he maybe was a better chance than he even expected, just kind of fell to his feet, and I think he wasn't ready for to take a shot there, and it just flies over the bar, but a nice work by Oreo to get the save in, and then he's led off by Rue, missing the deflection. Can't say enough about that diving save, though.
All-out effort there from Oberlin Oreo in an attempt to keep this game scoreless. Irish doing much of what we've seen them do so far today, which is work it now to Borso. Ball will end up out of play, and McLaughlin will toss it back into Williams. He'll work it up the far side to Ferguson. Chance here for the Irish, looking for some place to center. Tried to find Rue. Rue with a touch there, but the Yeomen able to knock it out of their zone. Throw in here for Ferguson. He'll go quick to Williams. Irish playing with a fast pace so far, but definitely calculated passes. Here's Rue with an opportunity. He'll find Borso. Borso looking for somewhere to go. He'll try to center it. That one will end up on the far side of the net. And Rue with another attempt, and that one will end up in the back of the net.
I believe that's Michael Rossi who got the final touch. Can't tell if he was trying to, that was maybe intentional or not, but regardless, puts it in the back of the net. We'll see on the replay a little bit later if he was trying to maybe control it and just missed it, or if it was just a deft touch that we didn't even really notice. It didn't look like there was any effort in it at all. I think that maybe speaks to the quality of that touch. You'll see here, it's cleared out, but only as far as Rue takes the shot, and it's just a nice flick on by Rossi. That's definitely intentional. It's definitely a really nice finish. All credit to him. You know, we saw against NC State, Rossi's got plenty of height, but he's also got a deft touch, quick feet. That's a really nice finish by a forward that's starting to come into his own in recent weeks.
The combination of the almost nonchalant boot out there and the even more subdued goal celebration led some confusion there, and it was just such a nonchalant goal there by Rossi, but he's able to add to his goal total on the year.
Something so casual about that finish that really speaks to, you know, the confidence he had in that touch. And now here comes Notre Dame again with Rue.
An attempt there by Rue. He'll get taken down. And another takedown there by Borso that will draw a whistle.
And that is some defense by Colin Volpe. To go to ground in the box requires confidence. It requires really perfection and not get a call on that. And he is just that, perfect on that tackle. Goes to ground well, wins the ball, and then wins the second ball because, you know, it looked like it was Borso closing in on maybe winning that second ball and taking a shot and goal himself. Really alert work by Colin Volpe, and an impressive tackle, and even more impressive to keep going after the play.
Irish regain possession. Redavoisa will work it back to Ferguson, who finds Williams.
You see here Notre Dame, an excellent team when they score first. Once they get that lead, they can really come into themselves defensively. I think today they're going to keep attacking.
Borso here yet again, trying to dribble, trying to find a way in. Puts up a booter attempt, header attempt rather, and a scramble for the ball here, and a high kick just ends up above the net.
Nice work by Michael Rossi once again to hold up play in the box. Again, talk about how casual it looks for him to hold that ball up and be so deft with his touches, and he lays that one off well for Nolan Spicer. Spicer goes wide. You see here another clearance, only finds his way to Spicer. Spicer to Rossi. Rossi, that one takes a deflection actually to get back to Spicer, and Spicer lashes at it, saw the goal and wanted to find glory, but a bit too heavy maybe on the power and goes over the bar. But again, Notre Dame really growing into themselves as this game goes on. Some nice touches in the box, not looking too overconfident, but also looking like a team that, you know, is willing to take their time and be patient.
Here's Rossi, trying to work it inside. He'll get possession back. Finds Spicer. On the outside is Redavoisa. Redavoisa will play it back. Irish keep pushing forward, but Green is unable to chase that one down, and that's going to end up with a throw-in for the Yeomen. The toss-in is turned over as the Irish with another offensive chance here. Borso tries to chase after it. He'll get there first. He'll slow up and turn back to Lewis. Now McLaughlin with it. He'll look inside. We'll find Redavoisa. Redavoisa goes inside more still. Looks for Rossi. Back out to McLaughlin now. And the boot inside ends up with Rue taking a shot at it, but he totally whiffs altogether. So the Irish applying the pressure. Rue unable to force a turnover there, but Yeoman still working, and there's McLaughlin with foul.
Wise touch there by Xander Francoeur to go down. He felt McLaughlin on his back, knew that, you know, maybe the ref would give that call. Goes over the back, and I don't know how much contact was there. Looked like it was enough for a foul, but regardless, whenever you feel that touch in your back, you know, going down is always an option. Francoeur takes that option, wins a foul as a result.
Here's Matthew Rue now, trying to work his way inside. Look for a centering pass, and that boot just tips off a defender and lays nearly against the post before Iorio is able to knock it out. So Rue almost with a backdoor attempt there to get into the net.
Confusing sequence there by Rue, and nice work by Iorio to really stay alert. Takes a deflection, nearly goes in for an own goal, but he dives back and is able to parry that out. But nice work, nice reaction. It's not an easy ball to save.
Spicer with the corner. High ball headed outside of danger for the Yeomen, but they're still trying to work it in, or the Irish. Ferguson will knock that one out of play, and it'll be a throw in for the Yeomen. On that last play, it was nearly an old goal off Taubman, and Iorio was just able to knock it away. We've said his name a lot so far this evening, and he's certainly seen a lot of touches. And Coach New talked about him as being the most complete goalkeeper for this Yeoman roster.
They wanted to go quickly on that foul. They didn't get the chance to. Referee made them bring it back to the original spot. I don't know if Matthew McLaughlin maybe spotted something downfield and was trying to take it quickly, or that was, you know, an intentional plan. Regardless, they got that ball on the ground and tried to run with it, but the referee told them to bring it back, and now they're going to build up a little more slowly.
Ferguson trying to find Lewis inside. Lewis looking deep for Borso. Borso will have to rush to keep that one inside. He'll just be able to do that, but rather they're going to call that out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick for Iorio.
Bonus points for the acrobatics from Borso. I think tried to pull off the act of not being inbounds himself while still keeping the ball inbounds, but in the end the referee just gives a goal kick, and now we'll see the first subs of the game for Notre Dame. Enoento, KK Bafor, and looks like Daniel Rossi's going to come, Daniel Russo I should say, is going to come into the game for Michael Rossi. Notre Dame's going to reshuffle their front line and get some rotational minutes in.
So the Irish bringing in some of their heavy hitters. Intel coming in with 4 goals on the year. Second for the Irish in both goals and points. Meanwhile, here's an attempt by Russo, but he's unable to get to it in time. That ball is booted a long way away to be retrieved by Williams.
Another nice slide tackle there by Colin Volpe. He's shown a real knack for timing himself well when he goes to ground and making sure he wins the ball and stays away from the man.
And a battle for the ball now is really turned over to the Yeomen, but Williams able to recover. He's going to find Into. Ferguson will work it up. Looks to Bafor.
Bafor loves those little half spaces. You got to imagine Notre Dame will be trying to get him the ball in that area a lot right now.
Works it to Russo. Russo, patient with it. Back to McLaughlin. Irish continue to play this patient passing game. We'll find Baffour. Baffour with a shot on goal. And a great save there by Iorio as he fully stretches out. Stop that roller off the foot of Baffour.
Some solid build-up there by Notre Dame. You got to be careful to hit the passes just right when playing a defense as well marshaled and compact as Oberlin has been so far. Notre Dame was just that in that build-up.
So the Irish with a boost of energy here, adding in some of their stars like Intel, Rousseau, and Baffour. Oberlin looking to respond with some consistent possession for the first time on their side of the offensive zone in a while. They're going to take their time to set this possession up. And a quick turnover forced there by Redavoisa. Results now in Rossi, or rather Spicer, having a run, but he's going to be fouled and will fall to the turf. So the Irish will get a good early chance for a free kick.
Nice run there by Spicer, who does well to get inside his man and try to really drive forward, but feels the pressure on his back, and I don't think he could have kept going even if he wanted to. Notre Dame will get a free kick in a dangerous area now, obviously, like we said, without Patty Burns in the lineup today, usually their main set piece rep. They can do some interesting stuff with this.
The boot here by McLaughlin. An attempt, and what a save that by Iorio just to knock it up.
That one very well could have been Notre Dame's second. We'll see here, nice reflexes by Iorio to put that one over the bar.
That's going to result in another corner kick there for the Irish. As Rousseau will take this one. So continued pressure being applied to this Yeoman defense. Rousseau will work it short to McLaughlin, who will work it back to Rousseau. Rousseau with plenty of space, patient, puts a shot on net, and unable to get that one on goal.
Rousseau loves to bend him, and we know he can. He had the famous goal against Clemson this year, and we'll see here on this free kick, it's put in the box to flex around. It's Mitch Ferguson who gets the last touch, the center back, and like we said, well reacted by Iorio to get that one over.
And Coach New talked about liking to play Colvin Iorio primarily in net when he's facing teams that use a lot of crosses on their entries. And the Irish, as we've seen so far, have tried to work the ball to the middle quite often. And Iorio has been able to stand strong so far, only allowing one ball to pass his purview. So now Ferguson will work it back for the Irish. We'll play it back to Cornell, who would get a rare touch so far in this game. Irish are coming off a big win against number 14 Duke this past weekend, part of a streak of 3 straight ACC wins over the last few weeks, as you mentioned in the Open, JJ. Looking to extend their win streak to 4 in this midweek matchup. Iorio will go back to play it. Pressure applied there by Spicer. Irish circling the wagons here early on.
Composed build out there by Oberlin, and well worked as well.
They're going to try to work it the other way, but Irish aren't going to allow them to do that. Baffour will play it now in the midfield. We'll try to find Spicer. Spicer will continue to advance, and here's now Rousseau. Rousseau trying to dance around. Move it back out to Redavoisa. Redavoisa will be patient and send it back out to Ferguson. A centering pass attempt there is headed away by a Yeoman defender. And a penalty there is called on Ferguson.
Nice break for the Yeoman to reset, restructure. Notre Dame was knocking on the door there with that last chance, doing well to work the ball out well, wide, play it towards the middle, and to their credit, the Yeoman have done well to stay well marshaled out there, but it's, like we said, Notre Dame's been knocking on the door for some time now. Now they get a chance to breathe, reset, maybe get a possession of their own going.
Irish haven't lost in nearly a month. Last loss coming at the hands of Michigan State on September 12th here in Notre Dame Stadium. Since then, they've been 3-0-2. 3-2-0, rather. Meanwhile, an attempt to find Russo on the far side. Russo possesses the ball, boots it up to himself, tries to center it there, and the ball nearly got it in there by Bafor, but he's unable to get it on the right side of the net. Russo fighting alone on that side. Finds Redavoisa. Redavoisa with a chance for Bafor. Bafor just nails it into the net off the post.
Anoento with a heck of a finish there. He almost had one a couple of seconds ago, and now he gets his. A composed finish, a nice find in the middle of the box. He turns on a dime, fires home, and Notre Dame up 2-0. You'll see here some nice work there by Russo to get it in. Doesn't get cleared. That's been a problem on the first goal. Russo turns around. He's so good in those tight spaces. Gets brought down. No fouls given. Spicer out to Redavoisa. Redavoisa, a nice through ball. Anoento does well to time his run, stay on side, or rather his lack of a run. He's just well positioned. And from that range, when he has that much time, you can count on Anoento to finish that off, and he does just that. Wheels away in celebration. Notre Dame more than happy with that result. Great work all around by Redavoisa, and a nice finish by Ento.
So had no one ahead of him and had the entire goal to choose for himself where he wanted to put that one, and just put it past the outreached hand of Iorio. Able to bounce that off the post and into the net for the Irish's second goal of this half.
Ento's had a really solid season so far. Also had a goal against Virginia where he showed similar levels of composure, not being too nervous in front of goal when a one-on-one defender, one-on-one with a goalkeeper, I should say, and just sticking it in the corner, and couldn't really have placed that any better.
First goal, or fifth goal on the year for Ento, as that attempt ends up in the hands of Cornell. Owen Cornell will play it out to McLaughlin, and the Irish will go back on the attack. 9:15 left and counting in this first half, with the Irish leading by 2 here in South Bend. A deep play here. Tries to find Russo in the corner. Russo will look inside. McLaughlin now tries inside to find Redavoisa. Redavoisa taken down in the box.
That was always going to be a penalty. Body to body. I don't think the ball was touched there. And we'll see now who takes the penalty. I think it's going to be Matthew McLaughlin. He's wearing the captain's armband today. One of the seniors on this team. Looks like will be the man to take it.
So penalty kick here for the Irish, as Matthew McLaughlin here to boot it. A shot, and it's in. McLaughlin makes it number 3 for the Irish.
Really nice penalty there by McLaughlin. Does well to find the bottom corner, and goalkeeper goes the right side. And it's not a bad dive by Iorio either. And we'll see here the foul. Redavoisa drives into the box and just shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. I think the defender knew it too from the foul call. And you see here McLaughlin just powers that into the corner. Had to place it just right to beat Iorio, and he does just that. And the captain for the day gets the goal.
McLaughlin only in his second game played on the year. It's his first goal of the year.
We'll see now if the floodgates kind of open for this game. Oberlin done so well so far to stay disciplined, stay composed, but now with a 3-goal deficit, you figure they'll maybe get a little more aggressive in trying to find their own goal. Maybe that opens things up in this matchup.
McLaughlin with his first goal of his career as a member of the Irish, as the senior has been around for some time, getting spot appearances, and is finally able to boot that one to the back of the net. So the Irish now with an onslaught of goals in the last few minutes, after spending most of the first half being more patient in their approaches, as Russo will work it into Redavoisa. centering attempt there. Goes over everyone's head and will end up out of play.
Nicholas Legendre, I believe, trying to make that late run, and ball just goes over his head. But Notre Dame, like you said, upping the pace a little bit on these attacks, really trying to put this game away. 3-0 lead is strong, but they're going to want to make it stronger.
Substitutes are made as Iorio will be waiting for those to wrap up before booting it away, and he will do that now. Boot goes out of bounds off an Irish boot.
Entering the pitch for Oberlin, number 4,
Russo to claim possession now for the Irish, and back comes Radavoisa.
And number 16, Lewis Gandelheim.
Irish work it back into the possession of Radavoisa, who will send it far away on the far side. Ends up in the boot of before. Finds Into inside. Into on a drive. Unable to put a shot on net. That one will go out of play and will give the Irish yet another corner kick.
KK Bafor, dangerous on these set pieces, the one to take it. We'll see who he looks for in the box, though, with Rossi, obviously the tallest player on the field early on, not on the field anymore as Bafor goes into the middle.
Bafor will end up still booting that one up. And a shot attempt there by McLaughlin just ends up safely out of play for Iorio, and he will not have to expend much sweat on that one.
An ambitious effort. I believe that was outside the boot, right on the volley, and not a bad effort either, but ultimately not one that really ever was going to trouble Iorio.
Oberlin really unable to set up any sort of offense so far in this half, as the Irish have been quite aggressive and fast and attacking them throughout. And that was something that head coach of the Yeomen, Blake New, expected in this matchup, as he foresaw the Irish having both high talents and high intensity and attacking them throughout. And he looked forward to for the chance for his team to face against such a high-level opponent, with the hopes of being able to go back to the NCAC conference and have a good insight of playing at a higher level of speed. So now Iorio will work it back up.
And Oberlin's done well so far to do those little triangles. They try to build it out for the back. Iorio looking so comfortable in distribution, never looking like too worried about Notre Dame press, always finding his man. And when Oberlin's had to build out that way, they've looked composed in doing so.
Run here now is won by Oberlin. Feeblis Flores will feed it out now. Pasewicz. Back to Feeblis Flores, who will backpedal and try to find his way back inside. Turn over there as Legendre applies pressure.
Nice touch there.
Into the zone comes Oberlin. That one will be played out of play and will result in a toss-in here. So Feeblis Flores will put it back inside, and attempt here by Thompson to try to center it, and that's a quick header out by Ferguson.
Well read by Mitch Ferguson there to get in and get his head on it, and now Notre Dame will have a chance to counter here.
But Avoiso works it up to Before. Before will slow up. Work across the field now to Russo. Russo taking his time. Moves into the center. Works it back to Bafor. The Irish will play it even further back. McDowd gets a touch. Now up to Russo. Russo nearly turns it over. McDowd sends it across the field. Now Before with an opportunity, he's going to send it back out into Russo. Russo trying to find a way inside, unable to, and back comes Oberlin. And a slip there by McLaughlin. Looked like it might have given a chance for Francoeur to make a rush, but he was unable to wrangle it. So a toss and attempt will give Oberlin a chance to do something, and great pressure there by Intel. Forces disorder from the Oberlin side. And with 2 minutes left and 20 seconds in this first half, Irish looking to set up one last offensive rush. Irish have been fantastic so far in the year. Over the last few seasons, when scoring first, 26-0-1, dating back to 2021 after they've scored first. So here's Intel. He's taken down, but no penalty call. Green tries to send it across, and there's Russo to calm it down. Russo puts a boot on, but that will end up out of play, and Iorio will have a goal kick.
And like you mentioned, Notre Dame, not just excellent when scoring first, but really excellent in general because of their defense. They've only allowed more than one goal in one game this year. It's been kind of a cornerstone to their success. You know, they've obviously won a couple of 3-2 shootouts as well, but Notre Dame really has been excellent this year at keeping the ball out of the back of their net and limiting opposing chances. As of right now, Oberlin hasn't had a shot, or a shot on target, obviously, as well. And Notre Dame's just been dominating the stat sheet.
And the Irish rank first in the ACC and 8th nationally in goals allowed.
Maybe some commentators curse there as Notre Dame gets rid of it for a corner kick.
So Oberlin a chance to knock the Irish down a few pegs. They're going to have a corner kick on their first of the game. Hesitation, a centering attempt there, and it's a quick header out by Ferguson. Oberlin trying to rush now to get some sort of offensive shot on net, as the Irish have played quite stingy on defense so far. Working it inside now. Before on defense, a shot put up and it's blocked. And that boot will go to the far side as with 15 seconds left. Iorio is going to try to play it and boot it back down the field to give his Yeoman a chance yet again, but that's going to be rejected by McLaughlin.
3, 2, 1.
Notre Dame looked composed, they looked patient, and they got 3 goals as a result. Can't ask for much better half defensively, offense.
As they will likely look to add on to their lead while also continuing to mix in a lot of members of their bench. And Coach Riley talked about the value in the depth that this team has as helping them get through a lot of games that they've played, noting that playing a lot of games often fatigues your team over the course of the year, and the maturity and toughness of this group has really contributed to its success for the last few weeks. As there's a centering attempt and a shot put on goal, as before just tips that one into the hands of Iorio, and so a quick test already for this Yeoman defense.
KK Baffour with a nice touch there. He kind of just pokes it at the goal and gets a lot of power on it for the subtlety of that touch, but well worked by Oberlin, or rather Oberlin's keeper, Iorio, to save it and leave no damage.
So the Irish continuing with their first half trend of dominating possession and being more cautious with their approaches and trying to work the ball in slowly but carefully. And JJ, for the Irish in this second half, what's something you think they could focus more on in this midweek matchup?
I mean, I think they just need to really make sure their depth gets flexed out here. They got to go on the road to Blacksburg, Virginia, in a game that Notre Dame traditionally has struggled with, at least in recent history. They haven't won there since 2013, so you want to keep your squad fresh but also rested. It's a balance that Coach Riley will need to find, where you got to give players minutes so they're not coming into the Virginia Tech game where they're all rusty, they haven't played in a bit, while also making sure they're not too tired out. They obviously have to go on the road. It means a flight, it means travel during midterm week. It's not an easy week to do travel at Notre Dame, so he's got to make sure he finds balance between getting some energy into his squad's legs and also keeping them well rested.
Meanwhile, Baffour tried to work it in, but it was a turnover, and recovered now by Redavoiso, who's going to work it back out. You mentioned Virginia Tech currently sits in 4th place in the ACC Coastal Division. A 2-2-1 conference mark for them. Irish, of course, sit atop that division with a 4-0-1 mark. They're 13 points, pace the division by 3 points. Here's Baffour. Working on the outside. A centering attempt is booted out.
Josh Ramsey working at fullback position, usually plays center back for Notre Dame. Using him out wide as a connector more, someone who's putting the ball into the box. A different role for him, but one he looks plenty comfortable in.
And part of the benefit of playing a game like this is being able to put players in positions that they're not so used to and seeing what clicks. And here's Ramsey trying to find Baffour. Baffour trying to center it in, but booted out of bounds and blocked by Matt Taubman, so that'll lead to another corner.
I think he was offsides.
Rather, they're going to call that offsides, as you mentioned, so Iorio will boot it away now.
Yeah, Baffour was, I think he tried to make his run a little late, and Ramsey saw him, just wasn't able to get the pass off in time, and Notre Dame wins that ball very quickly.
Irish come right back on the attack. Here's Russo. Russo with it. Tried to work inside to Ramsey, but was unable to. So back comes the Yeoman. Irish coming back down the field with numbers. Baffour slowing up. Back to Baffour. He's got space. Turned over there, and the Irish look to respond here now with Ramsey slowing it up.
I think this is where Notre Dame's depth really going to shine. Oberlin starting to tire out a little bit. I think you can see they're not as willing to run onto those second balls, not pursuing as heavily. Notre Dame obviously a bit more able to keep the fresh legs rolling, and that is a beautiful ball. Let's see if, and no, it's a bit too far. And McDowd went deep into the locker for that one, tried to go across the field and break play open on his own, and ultimately could not find the run of, I believe that was Russo he was trying to find.
So back comes Oberlin, and a turnover there, but that boot winds up right back in the hands of Iorio. He'll toss it away, and the Irish continue to apply pressure. Really relentless on this Oberlin defense, and forcing another turnover there, and back comes now Ferguson. Works it into the middle for Radavoisa. And just no time to breathe for these Yeomen as the Irish just continuously attack.
To the point about depth, that's where it really shines. Notre Dame just has the manpower to keep on pressing, keep on running at the ball and swarming every Yeoman player that gets the ball, and Yeoman just can't do the same for Notre Dame. They'll get tired out so easily because Notre Dame's had so much possession. Notre Dame's able to rest a little bit, and when Oberlin starts an attack, they really do well to get 1 to 2 players immediately in the vicinity of the ball, and more often than not win it back. That's a nice find by Radavoisa.
Good find, as you mentioned. Working on the outside, a boot just hits off the hand of Iorio, and great save there by Iorio, knocking that one away. To keep this game within 3, Irish continue to apply pressure. That one will go off. An Irish boot and end up out of bounds for a throw-in.
Scoreline doesn't say it now, and it likely won't at the end of the game, but Iorio's had a heck of a game for himself. He's made some really nice saves, and Notre Dame could have had a couple more if he hadn't been so alert.
And the Irish continue the pressure here. Radavoisa working it around midfield, and as you mentioned, Coach New talked about Iorio as someone who controls the box really well and is a smart player and kid, and is currently studying to be an astrophysicist, which is quite challenging as well.
No kidding.
Back down the field come Oberlin. And they've just been unable to really get out of their zone with safety as you mentioned these Irish just continue to attack, and it's both a testament to their depth, but Coach Riley also talked about working the physical and mental load management throughout the season and making sure we're giving players enough breaks, both whether it be lighter practices or having days off. And it's paid off for the Irish.
I think it also speaks to the culture of the team. It's, it takes some level of motivation to hold that thought.
Here's Bafor. Bafor looking now for Ramsey on the side. Ramsey slowing up, looking for someone to go. We'll go back to Ferguson. Ferguson will unload one. And a shot on goal, but bounces off the post, but the flag goes up, and that's going to be offside. So a fantastic setup there by Ferguson, but just a tad bit offside.
We're going to look here at the run. Ferguson chips it in, and, well, Russo's well offside when he strikes it. The question is whether he was when he began his run. Linesman obviously thought so. Notre Dame bench perhaps less so.
Irish continue to attack here. Here's a chance now for Spicer. Spicer unable to properly wrangle it though, and Yorio able to settle on it.
Good command by Yorio of his box, and good communication between him and the defender too, where it's not easy to kind of control that process where you call the defender off and come out and claim it yourself, but him and the defender with some good communication, some good play to clear out and let him claim the ball, and as a result, no calamity at the back, and they're able to reset.
So the Irish continuing to press this Oberlin team, and here's Russo with a toss in back to Radavoisa. Ferguson now will play it at midfield. And a tipped pass there leads to a turnover, but a player down for the Yeomen after tipping that pass. That's going to lead to a stoppage in play. Injured player being Cole Fuller, the defenseman. And with the way he's reacting, it looks like he took that ball flush to the body. Some Yeomen warming up off the field. And the Yeomen have to be pleased with the way their defense has been able to face a lot of challenges from this Notre Dame aggressive, high-scoring offense, having faced 20 shots, 10 shots on goal, and still only being down 3 in this matchup.
Absolutely. It's been a stern challenge by Notre Dame. They're not taking their foot off the gas. They keep on trying to find that fourth goal and keep pushing, and Oberlin's done well. They haven't tired out. They haven't, given up, and even though the scoreline is obviously reflective of some dominance by Notre Dame, at least in possession and shots, Oberlin hasn't quit. They aren't backing down. They aren't trying to get desperate and just start playing the ball forward for the sake of it. They've continued to play their game. They've continued to be pragmatic, and as a result, they've held up pretty well in the face of a lot of strong Notre Dame attacks. Obviously, 3-0 is not exactly a game that you're ever going to be especially pleased with, but if you're Oberlin, you're coming on the road to a team like Notre Dame, number 8 in the country, and you really came in this game, as Coach told us, to try to get some experience going into the second half of your schedule. And I think if you're Oberlin, you've come away saying you've done exactly that.
And here's a rush now by Russo. Russo slows up. He's going to have another chance at it and falls.
And that's going to be another penalty.
As you mentioned, a penalty upcoming on Russo. The Irish going to get another grade A chance to add to their lead.
Take a look at the replay now, as Russo's going to be able to take it, I believe. And you see there the arm, I think it was a connection to the legs, actually. Well, that was the contact and head and hands moment. Referee saw it immediately and gave it, and here comes Russo.
Russo slows up. The boot just misses the far post. And the lead will stay at 3. So a missed opportunity there on the penalty kick from Russo.
Get another angle at it here. Tries to find the bottom corner and strikes with plenty of power, and it's just a hair wide of the post. Russo won the penalty but can't finish it off.
Russo, the senior forward with 2 goals on the year, is going to be kicking himself for that one. The Irish offensive attack pushes on as there's Russo who sends a header forward. Played now by Michael Rossi. We'll settle it down and go back to Russo. Russo back to Rossi. Rossi with a boot. Great save by Iorio. Russo settles it down. Puts another shot on goal. Iorio bats that one away. Irish continue to attack. Here's Green now. Before finds Green. Green with a centering pass. A battle in the box for the ball, and that ends up getting booted out of play, but a couple of fantastic chances there, and Iorio denies them all.
He's been having a game for himself today. 9 saves, and here comes the shot right here by Rossi. Well saved. Some chaos in the box. I don't think anyone really expected the ball to not go as far as it did, and Iorio does well to get down on the ground and make another save there at the end of the sequence. He's, like we said, 9 saves today. He's faced 23 shots, 12 on target, and has come away with a, right now, pretty solid performance, only allowing 3 goals in.
Here's before now. Looking for somewhere to go. Slows up. Bafor. Looking for somewhere to go. Goes to the far side. Finds Redavoisa. Back now for McLaughlin. Works it to Russo. Russo trying to dribble, but is knocked down to the turf. No call. Wyatt Lewis will go back. Force a turnover now. Lewis finds Spicer, who works it to Bafor. Bafor now to Green. Green will work it inside to Spicer. Back to Green. Green with a centering attempt. Header. Before. Knocks it right into the chest of Iorio.
That one, not the hardest save Iorio's had to make today, but complicated one because the defender kind of flashed in front of him right when that shot came in, and he did well to kind of keep his eyes on the ball. It wouldn't, you don't really notice it because the shot didn't look especially powerful, and it wasn't especially powerful, but that's still a heads-up play because it's easy to kind of see the defender come in front of your eyes and lose track of where the ball is, and Iorio does well to stay concentrated and bring it in.
The Irish attack does not stop. And there we see a miscommunication as Spicer is unable to correctly wrangle that one in and put a shot on net. So Iorio able to carefully field it and will boot it downfield.
Ramsey back in his usual center back role now as Green has rotated out to that fullback position.
Irish going on the road for their next matchup. Coming up on Friday against Virginia Tech. It's going to be a big conference matchup in a place that the Irish have had struggles with. So they're going to look to knock the monkey off their backs and continue dominating their ACC Coastal Division opponents. Meanwhile, here's a chance here for Green. Green tries to center it in, but that ball is pinballed out of play.
Caesar, the last time Notre Dame won at Virginia Tech? 2013. Obviously, those who know Notre Dame soccer history know a very special year for the program. Notre Dame, obviously, they get a win. And Blacksburg, obviously, not exactly a guarantee the national title will be coming, but it would be a big win for a team that is, with just 3 games left in ACC play, right in the thick of it, in that title contention. 3 very tough games coming up, but you can't ask to be in a better position than they are right now, at least through the first 5 games.
For the Irish, you mentioned 2013 as being a banner year for them. Well, this is their best record through the amount of games that they've played so far since 2016. So they have had a stellar start for Coach Riley. I've made him proud. Here now is Lewis. Will turn the ball over, and Colvin Iorio will finally get a break as Oberlin will come back down the field.
Notre Dame not taking any nonsense to that one, just clearing it out. Oberlin could have had some numbers there. They started to flood forward, and wasn't exactly a 3-on-2 or anything like that, but they did have the numerical advantage. They saw they had a chance to get out in transition, and they came forward quickly. Notre Dame doing well, though, to get back in transition themselves and defend it well, clear out the danger, and force a throw-in.
You see a look there. Irish 9-1-1 through 11 games in 2016, looking to potentially match that as they currently sit with only one loss through 11 matches so far. That year, part of a number of highly successful seasons for Coach Chad Riley and the Fighting Irish. Looking to continue that success through the rest of this season. 29 minutes stand between the Irish and their 8th win on the year as they'll look to continue to control possession here against Oberlin. McLaughlin working on the far side will find his way inside, and now back to Ramsey. Ramsey will send it all the way downfield. Looks to find Borso. Borso faces the turf monster, but is able to regain his feet. Now comes Legendry. Legendry will slow up. Trying to work his way around a number of Oberlin defenders, and back comes Oberlin. Patrick will work it back now.
That's some nice composed build out there by Oberlin, working it through the center, then going out wide and just making sure you find space. And there's a nice pass there to spring play as well. But eventually Notre Dame just so well fresh in the numbers they have out on the pitch, so well rotated that it's just so hard to get past them because they're swarming to every ball, and you can't really get transition moments because Notre Dame is so well drilled in defending those transition moments, and especially when you've seen the amount of subs Notre Dame's brought in. It's just so hard to beat them.
Oberlin coming off a 2-0 loss against a conference foe in Ohio Wesleyan. And Coach New talked about wanting this team to really find a chance to get healthy. He said the Yeomen have only played 117 total minutes with their first 11. It's resulted in a lot of younger players being put in positions that they didn't have a lot of experience in, as their ball stays, or actually transfers over to Irish possession, as Borso will work on a toss in here.
In other games, this would be known as Kyle Genenbacher territory, but I don't believe Notre Dame's going to go for the long throw today as they check it short. And we'll get a corner kick out of it.
No Genenbacher, but the Irish will take it, and we'll get yet another corner kick. That'll be number 7 on the evening.
Corner kick for Notre Dame, taking the kick.
They haven't been able to punch any goals in yet off corners, but have generated plenty of offense and a number of shots on goal. The boot. Attempt to center it inside, and a couple kicks pinballed, and that one will end up in the back of the net. Nicholas Legendry.
Nice finish by Legendry, picking that one out of midair and rifling it into the bottom corner. Nothing the goalkeeper could do. Just a good finish all around, and Notre Dame rewarded for all the touches they've had in the box. We'll get another look at it right now on the replay. Ball bouncing around. That first effort is cleared. Legendry heads up play, gets it on the half volley and fires it home. Quality finish for someone who's been quite active in this game. Not easy to keep his balance in that situation, but he doesn't. Finds the back of the net, rewarded with his first goal of the season.
Just a perfect spot there for Legendry. As you mentioned, the sophomore forward had gotten a lot of touches so far, but there's another rush there by Legendry, and nearly turned over there by Iorio, and that's Legendry's second goal of his Fighting Irish career. His first of the season.
We talked in the first half about the possibility of the floodgates kind of opening once Notre Dame got that third goal, and that didn't happen. But we'll see if the fourth goal is maybe the one that does it.
Back on the field comes Zimmerman for the Irish. Zimmerman puts a boot on net, but that one will go out of play and will miss the goal altogether. So Iorio will have another goal kick. He's had plenty of action so far today, and on that last goal, just unable to reach to the far post, but really a strong half for him and a strong game overall. 10 saves.
Entering the pitch for the Fighting Irish, number 17, Mateo
Irish making
Acosta.
a few more subs,
29, Cleveland Sellers.
doing their best to try to use up their entire bench in this matchup.
And number 14, Mo Williams.
Back comes Oberlin now. Trying to find their way around this pesky Notre Dame defense. Legendry works it forward. As there's a fantastic save by Orso. And what a shot there off the boot of Borso.
That one was destined for the top corner, and I mean, that's just the kind of save you get once a game, maybe once a season even. A smile on his face, he knows the caliber of dive he had to pull out. That one is heading right for the top corner and at full extension. Colvin Oro reaches up into the top corner, pushes it high.
McLaughlin on the corner. Legendry tried to get a piece of it, but that ends up going to the far side as the Irish aren't able to capitalize off that corner attempt, but an absolute howitzer of a kick there from Borso, and an unreal one-handed save there by Iorio. Adds to his total with maybe his finest save of the evening. And he's certainly got his steps in so far today, working against this aggressive and often successful Notre Dame offensive attack.
Mateo Acosta in the game now to take the throw. Part of this Notre Dame bench that's really been emptied out, at least so far in this second half. He's getting his first minutes, as well as Cleveland Sellers IV, who also checked in.
There's Lewis Gandelheide getting a touch, and he's really been quiet so far today. He paces Oberlin in goals. We're 3 on the year and 7 total points. And the sophomore has really been a big part of their offensive success. But so far today, the Irish have been covering him quite well and have been all over this offensive attack of the Yeomen altogether. Gandelheide working it yet again. Turns over and plays back to Ramsey. This is an Oberlin team with players from 17 different states. More of a local school in Ohio, but a widely diverse roster.
Nice find by McDowd to get that to Legendry.
A centering attempt there, but that's going to end up way out of play. As Borso was unable to find anyone but the top of the net on that one. Pressure applied there by Legendry, but Yeoman able to get it out of their own zone. Owen Cornell finally able to touch the ball for after a long drought in this half. As the Irish defense has come alive in this second half and really completely stifled any sort of offensive play by the Yeomen. But there's a foul That will send Kendall Hyde to the turf. That will give a free kick for these Yeomen.
Really the first big set piece of the game for Oberlin, a chance to get bodies in the box and maybe try to win a header, play one down, and get a shot off. It's not going to be easy. Obviously not exactly a high percentage free kick per se, but one where you can still do something, and you see Oberlin committing a lot of men to the box and flaring players out wide as well.
Nassim Amr to boot this one away. Attempt at the box and headered right into the chest of Owen Cornell.
Cornell getting his first real action of the day, his first save. Not too much work having to come out and claim it, but good to get some action regardless for the young keeper.
Back down the field come the Irish. Cornell, the sophomore, getting his first time in any game so far this year and in his Notre Dame career. And a good spot so far. 19 minutes left in this second half as Borso falls to the turf. Aggressive play there by Borso on the outside, and is unable to keep it in, however. So a toss in upcoming for the Yeomen. We'll play it back. Matt Taubman for the Yeomen. He's going to work back to Iorio. Playing catch now with Iorio is the Yeoman defenders. Nearly turned over there, and foul is called on the Irish. So the Yeomen will work it back downfield. And Cornell coming a long way away to play that one. Just waited till it bounced into the box before he got his paws on it.
Smart goalkeeping by Cornell, who I think he knew where he was when he came out of the box. Instead, what he really does is let the striker know he's there, comes out, makes him make a choice about how much he's going to have to commit to that ball, and eventually Cornell backtracks and claims the ball on the edge of the box.
And JJ, talk about the value that the Yeomen are going to get out of this game in terms of lessons and what they could be learning from playing against a top 10 team in Division I soccer like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
And I think Coach said it best, that the speed of play is something that you can really take away. It's going to translate to all levels, the solutions you need to find against a team that's going to have an answer for you at every turn when you build out. A team that's, continually pounding your goal mouth with shots and making your goalie keep testing himself, making your defense keep finding answers. These are skills that are going to translate to the rest of the season for them, and skills that they kind of have to find on the fly. Obviously, you're going to lose games, but the amount of control Notre Dame's able to exert on this one in particular, that forces you to play a different way. It forces you to kind of find a second level of compactness, defensive structure that will serve you well when you really need to close out a lead and defend in the future. They're doing it in a different context right now, just trying to protect their goal from a Notre Dame onslaught. But in the future, if they need to close out a game, the amount of defensive lessons they've learned in keeping structure and keeping discipline and communication on the back line, those will all serve them well, in addition to what Coach told us about how the pace of play gets sped up and you need to learn how to play at that speed.
And Coach New talked about being grateful that his team is going to have 3 full days to rest after this tough matchup before 3 upcoming games that he has a lot of confidence in with his team. He mentioned that the North Coast Athletic Conference is typically held in high esteem in Division III as one of the top 4 or 5 conferences. And with the challenging schedule that they face, it's important to pick up points whenever they can and just focus on getting 3 points at a time. They'll have a chance in their next matchup against DePaul University this upcoming Saturday. It'll be a home slate there for Oberlin. That'll be a conference matchup for them and a chance to add more points to their docket in the North Coast Athletic Conference. And while for the Irish, it's encouraging to see a lot of younger players get reps as they go through this season in terms of ensuring that their starters have some rest. Talk about the key of these kinds of matchups for the Irish in terms of working through their schedule as they head deeper into their ACC slate.
Yeah, I think we said in the open, you just want to take it one game at a time. And Notre Dame right now, I think they're well aware of what they have coming up. They know they've got a trip to Virginia Tech, which traditionally has been a difficult trip for Notre Dame. They've got Michigan, where if you know your Notre Dame soccer history, you know that matchup. It is a tendency to get wild, though. At least the last few years, almost every one of those games has become an instant classic, whether it's in Ann Arbor or South Bend. But this year, the fact that they are going to Ann Arbor makes it that much more difficult. Then they go to Wake Forest, one of the best teams in the country, and then they welcome Pitt, one of the best teams in the country. All of these games in the context of a season where you are very much playing for NCAA seeding, you are very much playing for ACC tournament seeding, and potentially you're playing for a trophy at the end of it if you keep on winning. Notre Dame knows all those things are in the future. They know all those things are relevant, but they also know you got to take it one game at a time. You can't, keep looking ahead to, Blacksburg. You can't look ahead to Ann Arbor. You just got to win the games in front of you and get better every game, and that's what Notre Dame is no doubt looking to do. Just keep their players fresh, keep the legs ready for a game on the road, and that's what I think they're getting from this test against Oberlin. That's what they've gotten in the past when they've played these midweek games against teams in lower divisions.
The Irish have had quite a challenging schedule so far this season, facing off against top teams in the top 15 like Akron and Duke, along with a tough 1-1 tie as one of their first matchups. Meanwhile, here's Oberlin with one of their first chances in the offensive zone of the game, but that one will end up back in Irish possession. Legendre looking to play it. Works it now to Lewis. And Ramsey will send it down the field. Mateo Acosto now will work it back inside.
I think now the name of the game for Notre Dame is just getting some of these young players reps in and trying to learn the patterns of play that they'll be using in the future against ACC opponents. This is, we talked about early on, it was kind of a rotated first team and younger player lineup. Now this is mostly just younger players, and I think they're really just trying to let them learn on the fly here. Not a lot of upperclassmen out there to help them out. This is just go out there and play your game and learn from it. We'll see there maybe some miscommunication from Ramsey and Cornell, but eventually it's cleared out. But I think right now Chad Riley just wants his guys to learn on the fly, see which leaders really emerge from this unit where there's not really any, other than Josh Ramsey, any one proven veteran out there. Wyatt Lewis obviously has played a bunch this year, but he is still himself a freshman.
And the importance, too, of getting Owen Cornell a start here in this matchup. We've obviously talked a lot about the experience of Brian Dowd. 53 games played and 52 starts over his time here in South Bend as the decorated senior is one of the top goalkeepers in the country and certainly in the ACC. But Owen Cornell, possibly the future in goal for these Irish, and he's been able to get some good reps in so far today. Hasn't been very challenged, only with one save on the docket for him, but just getting those game reps is always essential for a young developing player like Cornell.
And Notre Dame will lose a lot of players this offseason that they've relied on. Dowd, Patty Burns, some of the notable ones, but that Dowd departures will be especially notable because, there's not really any clear in-game action for players to replace it because he's been such a high-quality player. You haven't really gotten the chance to get Cornell minutes because you want Dowd on the field whenever possible. So, this is obviously not a game where Cornell's been tested a lot, but it's good, like you said, just kind of get him some game reps.
Meanwhile, here's a chance for the Irish offense, as Oberlin is just able to get that out of their own box. And they're going to work it back down the field. Brian Dowd with 5 clean sheets so far on the year.
Player still down in the Notre Dame box. Nate Zimmerman hit that ball with so much power. I think it took the legs out from under Matt Taubman. Well, he's down now. Trainer will come out. Didn't look like there was any contact between Zimmerman and Taubman, but the shot went right at his ankle, and he went down immediately after.
Taubman's a talented center back for this Yeoman attack. Coach New talked about him growing into his role this year. And there we see a look as he took a big tumble. Reached out to grab his lower leg.
You see their trainer now putting in some work on that ankle.
And for Coach New and this Oberlin roster, definitely not encouraging to see one of your star center backs on the turf. He talked about the amount of injuries that Oberlin has faced throughout this year. As the trainer will continue taking a look at Taubman. 11:23 left in this second half of action. The Irish have this matchup all but in hand with a 4-0 lead.
And it's a game where Notre Dame is not too worried about the end result. We're more worried about the process at this stage. You know, are you putting together the patterns that you can apply to an opponent like Wake Forest or Virginia Tech? Obviously, you want to get goals as well, but it's more about, you know, what is going into those goals. How are you building out? How are you finding space? How are you solving whatever problems the defense presents you? And obviously, you know, the players you see on the field right now are probably not, by and large, the same ones that you'll see taking the field with the starting 11 against Virginia Tech, but it's still something to see proof of concept with how the patterns of play, how build out with the ball, how your structure when you don't have the ball. All of those things still apply, and regardless of which players you have on the field, you want to see those principles in action. And Notre Dame, no doubt, looking to make sure those principles stay strong, even against, you know, an opponent like Oberlin, and even when you don't have maybe your first team unit on the field.
Coach Riley talked about the importance of the process, saying that he thinks his team is open to continuously trying to grow better and growing from game to game. He mentioned it's their goal to try to have a balanced view of each game, of considering what they did well and what they have to improve on. And meanwhile, here's an attempt to generate some offense and a shot right in front of the net and a dancing around the goal, and there it is. Alex Savino able to finish that one off, and tally number 5 for the Irish offense on the evening.
We mentioned it's not all about goals, but I think Alex Salvino more than happy to claim that one. A chaotic one at that. We'll see here. Borso gets down the wing, puts in a ball, in the ball into the box, and that just bounces around. Mateo Acosta almost gets it. Salvino gets a touch on it, and then nobody in the goal mouth. He just fires that one home. Circles the finger. Notre Dame goes up 5-0, and about as easy as a finish as you'll ever see, I think, if you're Alex Salvino.
The senior with his second goal of his Notre Dame career, first on the year. As you mentioned, he slammed that one home, but easy finish for him. Meanwhile, another attempt here, and that one will also end up in the back of the net.
Talk about a quick strike. Seconds after the kickoff, it's Nate Zimmerman who gets in on the action. Composed finish as well. Didn't give our camera operators much time to find him as that one came. I'd love to see the clock on kickoff to goal, but Zimmerman gets that one on his feet. Legendry sets it up with a nice through ball and really nice finish, keeping that one on the ground. Plenty of power on it. He gives Legendry a point to thank him. High fives all around for Notre Dame, who have started to come into their own really late on. It's 6-0 now, and more reflective perhaps of the shots on goal disparity that we've seen all game between these two teams.
The freshman Zimmerman with his first goal of his Notre Dame career. A good finish there. He's able to just get it past the outstretched leg of Iorio. Irish seem to want more. Here's Legendary. He'll lose possession as the Yeoman will try to work it back.
Almost as if a flip was switched in this Notre Dame team. Just the pace at which they're getting forward seems to have been upped, and I think maybe that fifth goal really, not broke Oberlin's defense, but just fatigued them to an extent. We'll see Legendary on the ball now again. Nice turn out of pressure there.
Well, it's losing Matt Taubman there as the center back for the Yeoman. That's definitely been a part of their difficulty in defending over the last few minutes. And as you mentioned, most of this game, it felt like the floodgates would open at some point for the Irish, and it finally seems like that's becoming the case.
Now Patty Burns out there at the left back role, as if Notre Dame hadn't put enough of their firepower on. Burns, obviously a really quality player down on that wing. Likely just getting some run out into his legs before the game against Virginia Tech. Just keeping him fresh.
Patty Burns, the most talented defender for the Irish, was on the ACC preseason watch list. He's had a fantastic season for the Irish throughout. Meanwhile, Wyatt Lewis is going to look to find Borso on a long run. Borso goes a long way to try to keep that one in and is actually successful. Wyatt Lewis applies pressure there. And you have to imagine if we had numbers on possession stats for these two teams, it would be heavily, heavily in Notre Dame's favor.
Yeah, we'll get them at the end of the game, and I'm expecting quite the split. So Notre Dame looking for more here.
Salvino, he's going to find Borso. Borso trying to center it. Will hit some traffic. Patty Burns in the area, but he's unable to block that one away, as that's going to end up way down onto the Irish side of the field, recovered by Acosta. Just under 8 minutes left in this matchup. It's Notre Dame using this as a bench tune-up now with the game in hand. Here's Legendary. Playing it all the way back out to Acosta. Patty Burns will get a touch here.
What a ball.
Sends up a great centering attempt there. Salvino unable to pull the trigger. Another boot towards the middle. And a shot there, an absolute howitzer by McDowd, but that will end up well wide of the net.
Plenty of venom in that strike from McDowd. That's the hit of a man who's played defensive midfield and center back all day and wanted to take a crack himself. Just wide of the net, but oh man, what a goal that would have been if that hit the back of the net.
And number 23, Jack Kaplan. Replacing number 2, Ethan Long.
Some substitutions being made here with just under 7 minutes left in this midweek matchup. Irish have been quite successful at home so far on the season. Only one loss to go along with 6 wins, and hoping to add to their tally here this evening. And it looks like they are in good position to do so.
Alumni, a very difficult place to play historically for both Notre Dame men's and women's soccer, especially later in the season when the temperatures go down in the ACC. Notre Dame, kind of a unique location with Pittsburgh and Syracuse, just somewhere that really gets cold once you get into these November, October months. And when you get into those late months, Notre Dame's been really, really good at home. I remember last year there was a stat. The women's soccer team in the month of November at Alumni Stadium was 46-2-1 in this century. Just a mark of a program, and for both the men's and the women's, that once they get into that cold weather, they've just got a special degree of adaptation to playing in it that a lot of opponents can't really match. And this Alumni field, really well maintained, one of the best maintained grounds in the country, I'd even go so far as to say, and just an impressive stadium, an impressive ability to keep the noise in too once this place gets rocking.
Here comes a long run now. A turnover.
Today, perhaps not one of those days where the atmosphere is deafening, but once you see some of these big ACC matches come at the end of the season, there's plenty of crowd noise at Alumni, and that noise gets kept in by the design. It's really one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen, at least in college soccer.
And Coach Riley talked about there being a big crowd that really helped the Irish in their big win against number 14 Duke last weekend. Alumni Stadium, as you mentioned, a tough place to play. And their play here in Alumni Stadium is a big reason why they largely have their destiny in their own hands right now. Sitting alone atop the ACC Coastal with a good chance to make a claim to the title altogether for the ACC.
Those next two road games, like we've said, are probably the two of the most important games Notre Dame will play this year. They kind of prove-it games, so to speak. Virginia Tech, can Notre Dame go on the road to a place where they've, had trouble before and, win against a team they should beat on a neutral ground? And then Wake Forest, can Notre Dame go on the road and, win not just at a difficult ground to play at, but against a team that's, going to be one of the College Cup contenders? And those two games, Notre Dame can come away with, 4 points, say. That'll be a marker of a program that, has really pushed itself into contention to be one of the better teams in the ACC and one of the better teams in college soccer as a whole. And then, like you mentioned, the obvious implications of, if they get 4 points in that game, they would enter the Pittsburgh game on the final day of the season with some degree of controlling their own destiny in the ACC, whether that be playing for a share of the title, whether that be playing for the title outright, needing a point to win the title, needing 3 points to win the title. There's a number of scenarios there, depending on how many points they get in the next 2 conference games. But if they can get 4, they're going to be in a position where if they can get at least a win, they'll be in position to control their own destiny.
Free kick opportunity here for Legendre. He's going to fire it away. A chance there by Lewis, but he just fires that way above the net. It'll go out of play.
Entering the pitch for Oberlin, number 25, John Wirtz, and number 27.
For the Irish, they've outscored the opponent 11-5 over 5 ACC contests so far. Going into the season, they were only ranked 5th in the ACC Coastal Division in the ACC preseason coaches poll, so Irish have done a good job of proving a lot of people wrong as they currently sit atop that Coastal Division.
You've got to be impressed with the ways Notre Dame has found ways to win games in the ACC. Obviously a very tough conference to play in, but they haven't just been defensively sound, winning 1-0 rock fights. They haven't just gotten into shootouts and won games 4-3. They've shown an ability to get into high-powered attacking matchups like the Clemson game to open up conference play and win that 3-2. And then they've also won, some difficult seasons where the defense had to step up and, be kind of the main factor, like the tie with UNC on the road where Notre Dame was outshot for the majority of the game, really, was out-controlled for the majority of the game, but they were able to find a late equalizer and they were able to get a point.
Patty Burns trying to keep that one in, but is unable to, and that'll result in a goal kick. And this is a game that was over 2 years in the works, as there was an attempt to play it last year, but wasn't able to get both teams together. And for this first matchup, it's undoubtedly one of pride for both Coach Riley and for Coach New, as Coach Riley happy to play against the coach that gave him his start in college soccer. And Coach New, obviously proud of Coach Riley and the career that he's been able to have, as he currently has his ACC number 1 Coastal Division team, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, sitting in the top 10 with a chance to really make a run back into the NCAA tournament.
And, you don't want to be too early on to make comparisons to prior Notre Dame teams, but this team does seem to have a little bit more, at least 2021 Notre Dame than the last year's edition did. They, kind of have that quality of a team that can get into tight defensive battles and win. They have the quality of, a team that can find the back of the net as well. It's early on, but this is an impressive Notre Dame squad.
Meanwhile, here's a last-second chance. Zimmerman to Burns. Oberlin's going to be able to get that one out after an errant kick by Burns. And as you mentioned, that 2021 team went all the way to the NCAA semifinals. The Irish would love to have a tournament run like that, but they're going to have to work on Friday against Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, as they will be traveling over there next.
10, 9,
Oberlin will take their experience
7,
and head back to the suburbs of Cleveland after playing a very talented Notre Dame team that's going to finish this one off with a 6-0 large victory.
An impressive